Revue was a relatively new form of theatre that met wartime audiences' need for something more frivolous than what had hitherto been the usual bill of fare. The Edwardian melodramas and serious plays were not sufficiently divorced from real life to provide the kind of escapism that those patrons needed, who were constantly in fear of receiving the news that they dreaded of their loved ones at the front. Even those people who had no family circumstances to affect them in that way were daily exposed to the most disheartening newspaper reports. A brief sojourn in a theatre seat, assailed by laughter and music, provided a tonic at least for the duration. The review was entertainment at its least profound. Frothy dance numbers and catchy tunes linked humorous sketches and slapstick comedy, and this became staple fare at the Empire during the war. One such production, Wait and See, was playing the theatre when war was declared, and thereafter they came thick and fast. Reviews with titles like Nice, I'm Sorry, Oh You Must, Good Evening, and Smile Please must have been virtually indistinguishable, one from the other in content, style, and running order. Yet there was so much of their time, and they played to packed houses twice nightly. Thousands of soldiers were billeted in Swindon during the second week of August 1914, and the town's territorials were mobilised. They all left Swindon on 16th of August during the day, and that evening Manners mounted a hastily compiled programme of patriotic music and songs at the Empire in aid of the Prince of Wales National Relief Fund. This would give financial aid to the families of men who were killed in action. Some of the professionals who were working at the theatre that week took part. Otherwise, the artists and bands were local and amateur. Everyone gave their services free of charge, and Manners also made a personal contribution to the fund. Thus began the manager's charity work for the forces and their dependents, which would extend throughout and beyond the First World War. He announced on 16th of August that he had arranged for a series of concerts to be given to the theatre on Sunday evenings, when the takings would go towards national relief funds. The audience gave a hearty reception to every artiste on the first night, and in the spirit of fervent patriotism and optimism that blinded the truth at the start of the Great War, it was augured well for theatre audiences throughout the duration. Under Manners' control, the Empire Theatre had always supported various good causes. Hello, Runa. And the focus of his fundraising now became the war effort and the requirements of local troops on a rising tide of patriotism. I'm live streaming. Hope people please sub me if you like it. When the Mayor's Relief Fund was launched in mid-August, he pledged £5, and thereafter, throughout hostilities, he and his daughter, Dolly, both raised a great deal of money for the local soldiers. He also tried to provide for their entertainment, building a picture house at Draycott Road, Chiseldon, on a military camp just a few miles south of Swindon. On 1st of December 1914, just a few months after it opened, this picture house was completely destroyed in a severe gale. All for the Empire, the history of Swindon Theatre. A great book. On 16th of August, the company of All the Nice Girls, which had been playing at the Empire that week, gave their services free of charge in the first of a series of Sunday concerts, always held strictly in accordance with the regulations for Sunday evenings concerts, which continued until 23rd of September in aid of the Prince of Wales National Benefit Fund. These performances attracted large audiences, and the professionals were augmented by local entertainers such as the Swindon Orpheus Male Voice Choir, the Gorse Hill Prize Band, Hilda Darcy and Gordon James, to ensure that fundraising concerts for troops held in the town did not clash. He arranged for organisers to set a programme that could be mutually agreed upon week by week. He also encouraged local bands in the town to give their services free of charge, and reduced its theatre seat prices for the fundraising events held at the Empire. A seat in the pit cost 2D, it was 4D in the circle, and the stalls sold at 6D each. Programme selling was in the hands of Dolly Manners and a group of volunteers. All for the Empire, the history of Swindon Theatre. I'll read some more. By 1914, a week of opera by the O'Mara Grand Opera Company Limited was held at the Empire. The Swindon Evening Advertiser reported that this company, with the exceptions of a brave little Belgian and a sturdy Russian, was composed entirely of British artistes. The opera was sung in English with the exception of the German Tannhauser by Richard Wagner. In May 1915, Alfred Manners was summoned to appear before Swindon Magistrates Court, next door to the theatre in Clarence Street, charged with allowing intoxicating liquor to be consumed at the Empire Theatre after 9 o'clock in the evening. This was in contravention of an order made by the licensing justices under the Intoxicating Liquor Temporary Restrictions Act 1914. Superintendent Moore made the allegation, to which Manners pleaded guilty and was fined £20 with £5 costs. Hello everyone. The Dolly Manners Soldiers and Sailors Christmas Gift Fund, initially called the Christmas Pudding Fund, was established in October 1915, when female cast members of a pair of silk stockings, then playing at the Empire, made a collection which brought in over £90. 2 months later, the local newspaper reported that the response to date had yielded over £200 towards the fund, including more than £40 for the theatre, and £1 from the Gorse Hill Working Men's Club. Manners and Dolly received many letters of thanks from Swindon men fighting for their country, including one from F.C. Frampton, 49th, London, dated 10th of December 1915. All for the Empire by Roger Traherne, The History of Swindon Theatre. My dear Miss Manners, just a few lines thanking you for your gift, which you have been kind enough to send me, also for the card and the beautiful words which are on it. I shall appreciate it very much, knowing that it came from the people of Swindon and knowing that they are thinking of us while we are away doing our duty for our king and country. It lightens our hearts when we know our friends at home are thinking about us. Please sub me if you like it. So will you kindly thank the people in Swindon for me for their kindness in assisting you to send us these beautiful gifts, which kindness will always live in our memory. Again, thanking you for your kindness and wishing you and Mr. and Mrs. Manners and the people of Swindon a bright and merry Christmas and a most prosperous and peaceful New Year. Thank you, Runa. This was one of numerous letters for the Manners family receiving from serving soldiers throughout the war, not only thanking them for the contents of the parcels, but also for the encouraging and inspiring words they wrote on the accompanying cards, which the recipient said helped to boost their morale. The first card, sent in time for Christmas 1914, by Manners and his daughter to Swindon men serving in France, was printed on stiff card, measuring 4 inches by 2 inches. On the front were photographs of the Allied national flags, printed in colour, and the words, "From Mr., Mrs. and Dolly Manners and Swindon friends." The British flag was reproduced in colour on page 4. The initial inside verse page read, "God bless the gallant defenders of England. God save the men who were true to the call. Tell them the love of the nation is mingled with honour and prayers for their safety through all." The recto bore the words, "Dear friend, in enclosing you this little reminder of Yuletide from father, mother, self, and friends in Swindon, we do so with our hearts beating true to you for the services you are rendering to our king and country. We know that God and the right is with you while you are away. We shall doubly welcome you on your return. Dolly Manners, Empire Theatre, Swindon." All for the Empire, the history of Swindon's historic theatre by Roger Traherne and Mark Child on Amazon Co. UK. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll be live streaming again later. Please sub me. Thank you. Bye.